The United States Marine Corps USMC is renowned for its ability to conduct complex amphibious operations, utilizing advanced insertion techniques to deploy combat engineers and special forces in challenging environments. One of the key methods in their arsenal is helocasting, a tactical waterborne insertion technique that allows Marines to rapidly and covertly deploy into water from helicopters. This capability is crucial for amphibious operations, especially in areas where traditional beach landings or air insertions are not feasible. Two of the helicopters primarily used for helocast exercises are the CH-47 Chinook and the CH-53 Sea Stallion, both of which provide unique advantages due to their size, range, and heavy lift capabilities. Helocasting is not just about jumping out of a helicopter into the water. It requires extensive engineering preparation, coordination between the aircraft crew and the Marines, and precise training to handle both the aircraft and the waterborne insertion techniques. Helocast engineering exercises are designed to train Marine combat engineers in these specialized skills, allowing them to carry out complex missions involving the rapid deployment of personnel and equipment in maritime environments. What is helocasting? Helocasting involves Marines exiting helicopters, usually hovering 10 to 30 feet above water, at speeds of 10 to 15 knots. The technique allows for rapid insertion without the need to land the helicopter, making it highly effective in covert, amphibious, or time-sensitive missions. After jumping into the water, Marines swim to shore or move to their next objective using small boats, often carrying heavy engineering equipment needed for the mission. This method is vital for missions where surprise and mobility are key, allowing Marines to infiltrate areas with minimal detection. While typically associated with reconnaissance or special operations forces, helocasting is also critical for combat engineers who are often tasked with constructing or demolishing structures in hostile or remote environments. Why use CH-47 Chinook and CH-53 Sea Stallion? Both the CH-47 Chinook and CH-53 Sea Stallion are heavy-lift helicopters designed to transport large numbers of troops and heavy cargo. Their unique design and capabilities make them ideal for helocast operations that involve deploying combat engineers with specialized equipment. Here's why they're preferred for these missions. The Chinook is a tandem rotor heavy-lift helicopter that can carry up to 55 Marines or a combination of personnel and equipment. It is highly versatile with its rear ramp, making it easier to exit the aircraft in rapid succession during a helocast operation. Its heavy lift capacity also allows combat engineers to transport essential tools, explosives, and construction materials for missions requiring infrastructure setup or demolition. CH-53 Sea Stallion is another powerful heavy-lift helicopter capable of carrying even larger loads than the Chinook. It can transport up to 37 troops with full combat load or carry heavy cargo externally via sling load, such as vehicles, artillery, or construction materials. The Sea Stallion is a preferred platform for helocasting when additional gear or larger engineering teams need to be inserted into a remote location. Its increased size and lift capabilities provide a strategic advantage, particularly in amphibious and remote environments. Both helicopters allow for multi-point exits, either from side doors or rear ramps, and are capable of performing helocasting in rough maritime environments, making them perfect for large-scale amphibious engineering exercises. Combat engineers play a vital role in supporting marine operations, particularly in amphibious settings. Whether tasked with constructing bridges, repairing infrastructure, or setting demolition charges to clear obstacles, their role is critical for mission success. When deployed via helocasting, combat engineers face unique challenges that require specialized training. They must be able to rapidly deploy into the water, manage their equipment, and then transition to building or demolition tasks upon reaching the shore. Helocast engineering exercises train Marines to carry out these complex tasks while managing the additional difficulty of moving through water and managing gear. These exercises often simulate real-world scenarios, such as deploying to establish forward operating bases, clearing coastal defenses, or conducting underwater demolition to clear harbors or enemy infrastructure. Helocast exercises are highly technical and focus on preparing Marines for the real-world demands of waterborne insertion. Training is divided into several components that emphasize aircraft safety, water survival, engineering tactics, and coordination between the Marines and the helicopter crew. Exiting from large helicopters like the Chinook and Sea Stallion requires precision and an understanding of the aircraft's unique characteristics. Combat engineers must coordinate closely with the flight crew to ensure the helicopter maintains the correct hover height and speed for a safe insertion. The powerful downwash from the CH-47's tandem rotors and the CH-53's larger blades creates turbulence over the water, which can make exiting more difficult. Marines learn to exit at specific points to avoid being caught in the turbulence and to minimize the impact of the rotor wash. Marines practice jumping from both the rear ramp and the side doors, ensuring they can safely and quickly exit the aircraft in different scenarios. The Chinook's rear ramp allows for the rapid deployment of large numbers of Marines, while the Sea Stallion side doors offer alternative exit strategies in situations where the ramp is not usable. Marines are taught how to manage heavy engineering gear during the jump, ensuring that their equipment is secured and ready for use upon hitting the water. This includes waterproofing sensitive tools and demolition materials to keep them functional once they reach the shore. After exiting the helicopter, combat engineers must navigate through water with their equipment. This aspect of training is particularly demanding as the weight of combat gear can hinder movement, and Marines must be proficient in water survival techniques. Marines practice swimming long distances while carrying heavy loads, including rifles, demolition tools, and flotation devices. Combat engineers often carry specialized equipment, such as breaching charges or tools for setting up defensive positions, which adds to the challenge of water survival. Marines are trained to deploy and manage flotation devices that allow them to conserve energy while swimming. Knowing when and how to use these devices is crucial, as it allows Marines to stay afloat while preparing for the next phase of the mission. Marines practice navigating through open water to reach designated landing zones or specific objectives. They learn to use natural landmarks, GPS, and compasses to orient themselves in difficult conditions, such as high waves or strong currents. The primary focus of helocast exercises for combat engineers is on their mission once they reach the shore. These missions can vary from constructing temporary bridges to demolishing enemy fortifications, and the engineers must be ready to begin these tasks immediately after insertion. One of the key tasks for combat engineers during helocast missions is placing and detonating explosives underwater. Training covers the proper techniques for transporting, setting, and securing charges in aquatic environments, which can be used for clearing obstacles or destroying enemy assets. Engineers practice setting up temporary structures such as defensive positions, observation posts, or bridges in remote locations where logistical support is minimal. This training prepares them for real-world missions where they might need to build infrastructure while under fire or in hostile territory. Successful helocast operations require tight coordination between the helicopter crew and the Marines on board. Both the Chinook and Sea Stallion are complex aircraft, and their size and flight characteristics demand precise teamwork. During the exercise, the crew and engineers train together to refine the following. Hover and speed adjustments. Helicopter pilots are trained to maintain a stable hover and appropriate speed while Marines exit. The engineers communicate closely with the pilots to ensure that all exits are timed correctly to prevent accidents or injuries. Rapid deployment of equipment. Marines must be able to quickly unload and assemble their gear once they hit the water. This requires pre-planned loading procedures in coordination with the helicopter crew to ensure everything is ready for immediate use once the Marines reach their objective. The skills honed in helocast engineering exercises are critical for real-world military operations. Combat engineers who specialize in amphibious warfare often support missions that involve establishing beachheads, clearing landing zones, or preparing infrastructure for follow-on forces. These operations may occur in hostile or austere environments where traditional insertion methods are not possible, making helocasting a vital tactic for rapid and covert deployment. Combat engineers can be inserted via helocast to prepare landing zones for larger Marine forces, clearing obstacles or setting up defensive positions. In special operations, helocast insertions allow engineers to infiltrate enemy territory to demolish critical infrastructure such as bridges or radar installations, helping to disable enemy capabilities before a larger offensive. Helocast-trained engineers can also be deployed for non-combat missions, such as providing humanitarian aid or disaster relief in coastal regions affected by natural disasters. The helocast engineering exercise is one of the most challenging and vital training programs for U.S. Marine combat engineers. By mastering the art of exiting from heavy-lift helicopters like the CH-47 Chinook and CH-53 Sea Stallion, and learning to operate in maritime,